Hey guys, welcome back to I'm Just a Fan. It's your host Ben, and we're going to be talking about Arsenal and the preview just of the 2025 season. What do I expect from the club? What do I actually think is going to happen? And overall, just what I think this season is going to look like. So let's just get into it right now. Before we do get into the season, we do have to give some context of where we're coming off of. And I realized that I had not made a 2024 2025 recap of the season. I didn't do that. So I'm just going to do a quick one here. I feel like the season can be defined by really just a couple things. Number one, injuries. The team was battered with injuries. I mean, Saka, major injury. Odegaard, he gets hurt early. Kai Havertz, injury. Jesus, injury. Pretty sure Saliba got hurt at the end. Gabriel, injury. Calafiori, injury. Obviously, I don't need to go on and on, but this team was really, really banged up last year. They dealt with a ton of just injuries again, like I said. And it was just really a lot to overcome. I mean, obviously, if you were paying attention to the team last year, we were playing Mikel Merino at striker against Real Madrid and the Bernabeu. I feel like that says it all. So this team was really beat up. They were beat up, but that was definitely a huge factor. Number two, it really was just a combination of expectations and not finishing the job. And when I say not finishing the job, you weren't getting enough points. Expectations heading into last year were that Arsenal minimum were going to at least fight for the title, which they did, but the race was over a lot earlier than I think all of us expected. Now, again, there's context to that. It was due to injuries, in my opinion. But also, it was just a lot of just super high expectations. The club disappointing with the January transfer window. And again, I think all those things kind of combined, and it just put a little bit of, not necessarily negative vibes for the team, but I just think that played a factor into it. And then, as I said, not getting enough points. That was due to, number one, way too many draws. You got way too many draws last year against teams that you shouldn't have been getting a draw against. Like, I think back to these are just some of the games that come to the top of my head. I think it was third or second game of the season. Brighton at home, you should have beat them. Fulham away, that's a more drop points. Those are the ones that I think of just off the top of my head, but there was just so many games where Arsenal really should have won or could have won. I mean, here's another one. Crystal Palace at home. Again, conceding a late goal for them to tie it up. You just aren't winning games like that. And you're not going to win a Premier League if you just keep dropping points like that. So that was another one for me that I was like, that was big. And then on top of that was really just the red cards. So many damn red cards. Declan Rice getting red cards because he's kicking a freaking ball. MLS almost got one against. Well, he did get one against Wolves, but that one at least got appealed. There's other ones I'm thinking about, but just silly red cards. Saliba, I think, against Bournemouth. That's one I'm going off the top of my head of. Just silly red cards. And again, you're noticing a trend. You can't do X and expect to win the Premier League. So again, getting injured a ton, that's not part of your control, but that's still very hard to overcome. Expectations also out of your control, but you still have to live up to them. And then again, it's just not winning enough games, that's in your control. Red cards, 100% in your control. So these things I think all came together to really kind of just limit where Arsenal were last year. Again, they still finished second in the Prem. That's great. But when you finish second in the Prem for 3 straight years, it gets a little old. The jokes are starting to write themselves. Netflix FC, next season FC. This team can't win anything big. And really, as a fan right now, I can't say anything against this narrative because the club is not proving these people wrong. Now, I do think that the club did a great job in the Champions League, again, for all the context that was provided, especially the injuries. I think they did a great job, again, beating Real Madrid 5-1, finishing it off in the Bernabeu as well. The remontada. No. I really did enjoy that. And they were close to even beating PSG. Again, they just didn't have a striker, didn't have enough scoring. So it really just depends on how you want to look at the season. I still think the season was overall good, but it did not meet where we all wanted to be. We wanted to be lifting the Premier League trophy at the end of the season. We wanted to be hoisting the UCL. You just didn't get either of those done. You didn't even get any trophies also in England. You didn't win the FA Cup. You didn't win the Carabao Cup. So it just overall was a weird season because I was proud of them in one way, but also was just disappointed because they just didn't really do anything when you when you at least judge it from a trophy perspective. I'm glad they at least have Champions League this year, and I expect them to continue to compete in that and obviously compete with Europe or with England, and we'll get into that. But I just had to provide the context of where at least I was at prior to heading into this season, because all of my thoughts are really based off of last season, where we were at, how we can get better, and then now, as we'll make a segue, we'll talk about transfers. And I think we're really going to see a lot of these guys really help the team. I really thought that the window was great. It can be even better if they add a couple pieces, and let's get into that now. So of course, this guy needs no introduction. Viktor Gyokeres. They got him from Sporting. Negotiations went on for way too long, way too long, but hey, they still got him at the end of the day. He even took, I think, $5 million less to come to Arsenal, and you want a guy that's going to play for the badge. You want a guy that's going to help the club in any way possible before he's even a member of the team. So I will always have someone like that on the club if they have the talent, and he does. And obviously, I don't really have to sugarcoat it or give you some long explanation. I think this guy's going to be great. He has produced the last 2 years in Europe at an insane rate, and he's filling the biggest void that this team has had, I would say, now going on 2 years. It wasn't as big of a glaring issue in the 23 season, but last year it was just painfully obvious that this team needed a striker and a clinical striker. I think he's going to be able to do that. So I think Arsenal hopefully figure out their number 9 position. I think they do, though, and I really like him coming in. So yes, Viktor Gyokeres finally is a gunner. The second big transfer for Arsenal was Martin Zubimendi. They got him from Real Sociedad. And from what I've seen from this guy, he is a CDM. He's, I think, 26, 27, so he'll be around for a little bit. But from what I've seen, he's a very good defender. Looks like he can pass the ball pretty well as well. And I just think that he maybe gives Arsenal a little bit more there at the CDM. Not that, again, and we'll talk about it, not that Partey did a bad job last year. I think he actually had a great year last year when it comes to playing. But at times, there were still moments where Partey made a lot of dumb mistakes. Like, again, even we talked about it in the intro, but him getting that stupid yellow card where he couldn't play in the second leg versus PSG. Stuff like that. I can't do that. So I think you're getting a guy, number one, you're getting a younger player. You're getting someone that obviously is built in on the system. And again, he was being pursued by Real Madrid as well, and he wanted to go to Arsenal. So again, I'm not going to act like I watch this guy a ton in the La Liga, but still, from what I've seen, at least in the preseason, he looks really good. I'm just very excited for him to complement this midfield. Now we get a little controversial here. Nani Madueke, $53 million from Chelsea. He is a right winger, but he also plays really on the left or the right. And I like this signing personally, and I'll give my reasons why. Number one, I think the kid still has something there. I definitely fell in love with this game last year. I liked watching, at least in the beginning of the season. I thought he was a very, flashy, but I just thought that he could create. He could create on the wing. Now, I'm not saying he had the greatest season ever, and I know a lot of Chelsea fans are not in love with him, but I still think that he could have a good role here with Arsenal. Now, my only complaint really is it the price tag? Because when I look at him, he's either going to start on the left, or he's going to fill in for either Saka or Martinelli. Now, 100% Arsenal need more depth at that position. Totally fine with it. But if you are paying $53 million for a backup, that is a lot. But at the same time, I don't know. I still think that he really can provide for this team. I think he can be a good option. So we'll just have to see how he does. Again, I feel like Arteta's done pretty well with people coming from Chelsea, so I'm just going to have to trust him, but I think he really could fit well in this system. It just depends, again, on how things go, how much playing time he gets, but I really do think he could be a factor for this Arsenal squad in the 2025 campaign. I'm going to go a little quicker with these transfers. Not that these guys aren't important, but they just aren't the huge factor guys. Like, these aren't guys that are going to be, deciding games. I mean, they definitely are going to have a factor, but they're not going to be, in your starting 11 usually. And that is going to start with first, Christian Mosquera. from Valencia. They got him for 13 million. He is a center back. I think he's 21, 22. And again, another player that seemed like he really only wanted to go to Arsenal. And I think, again, it's just a great depth piece. I mean, Saliba gets hurt at the end of the year. Gabriel gets hurt. You're going to need guys that are going to come in for depth. Now, I do like where Arsenal are at when it comes to the center backs. But there's now potential talks that QER might want to get sold. So I don't know how that's going to work. But I think if QER stays and then you also have Mascara, I just think that, it could be a really good fit, even depth-wise, just because I really do like where Arsenal are at. Obviously, Saliba, Gabriel, they're going to be your guys. But if they ever need breaks, which these guys do, they'll have young guys that they can rely on. And I just think him also getting mentored by Saliba and Gabriel, Timber, etc., I just think that these guys really could help him become an even better defender. So, again, don't know a ton about him, but I do know he's young. And I trust him. If he's that young coming to Arsenal, he's got to be pretty decent. So I trust Arteta again. And I just think, with how the club is ran and all the players, I just don't see how this guy doesn't pick up a couple things from them and overall become better. Next is Christian Norgard from Brentford. They got him for 15 million, and I love this signing. Yes, he is 31, but again, he is replacing Jorginho, and at this point of his career, by far better than Jorginho. Still love Jorginho, though. He just was washed. It is what it is. But I really like, even when it's not on the pitch, I like what this guy's bringing in the locker room. And when we look at that, he was the captain at Brentford. And I think a lot of those traits are just going to be great for this team. Yes, he hasn't been playing in necessarily the biggest games, but he's bringing a veteran leadership, a guy that also, again, wanted to play for Arsenal, a guy that, again, is a captain. I just think he's bringing a lot of leadership qualities that I think are going to help this team. Again, he's a veteran that guys can rely on, guys that, they can go to. I just think he's going to be a great fit for this team. And again, he's 31. They got him for 15 million. Don't hate it at all. From what I've heard, he's a very, very good player. Some of the highlights I've seen, very good defender. So, again, really like what Arsenal did there. Didn't have to pay a hefty tag, and you're getting a guy with a ton of experience also in the Prem, and I just don't see how this is really a bad deal for them. And last is Kepa. They got Kepa from Chelsea for only 5 million. Again, as a backup keeper, I love it. I absolutely love it. Again, 5 million for a backup keeper that has Premier League experience. Not really much I can say about that in a negative way. So really like what I not necessarily seen out of him. I'm not saying he's going to be the starter by any means, but still, he has Premier League experience, and for 5 million, that's a beautiful price tag. I'll take it any day. So again, no complaints on my end when we are discussing Kepa. Now to focus on players that are leaving, and these are really just the key players. Tomiyasu, he's just gone. It is what it is. He just couldn't stay healthy. Thought he was a great player, but he just couldn't stay healthy. Jorginho is gone as well. We discussed that. It was just time. Love Jorginho, though, for his small stint with the club. Honestly, I'm very excited to see him coach. That's kind of where I'm at with Jorginho, but love what he did for the club. Again, he was getting older. It is what it is, but he still had some solid moments, in my opinion. Of course, Sterling as well, gone, but do I really need to talk about Sterling much? He was on loan, so it's not like he was here forever, but he just made little to no impact for Arsenal last year. But hey, it is what it is. Nothing against Sterling. It's just at a different point of his career. You're not getting Sterling from the late 2010s. You're getting a different guy. So he didn't work out, and it's okay. And then the elephant in the room, I mentioned him earlier, Thomas Partey. I wanted Partey to stay. He was a fantastic player last year. I thought he had his best year with Arsenal. But he is aging, and the even bigger thing in the room is, of course, the off-the-field issues, which he was now found guilty of. So I'm not going to get into it, but for me personally, you cannot be in this club and associated with this club while knowing that you are guilty of this. So for me personally, I'm glad he's gone. We can move on. He does not need to be near us. And yeah, I'm fine off that, and that's really all I got to say about Thomas Partey. And to complete this transfer window would be, of course, be getting the obvious. I've now touched on this in 2 videos, is getting Eze or getting Rodrigo. And I would prefer, I don't know, either player would be good. I think either player would be a fit for this team. Eze at least has played in the Prem, but I just think if they could get a really, really high-profile left wing, you move Martinelli to backup, you move Madueke to backup right wing. I think that would be a fantastic fit, and I really would be fearing this front three. Again, Gyokeres, Saka, and then Rodrigo or Eze. Now that would be fantastic. So we'll see how things go. But if they get one of those two, I will be over the moon and will believe in this team even more than I already do. But that's just where I wanted to stay with that. Overall, I really did like the transfer window for the team. They addressed a lot of issues. If they can now put the cherry on top, I will be over the moon. That's how I'll be feeling. So yeah, love the transfer window, but it can be even better if they get one of those deals done. Now on to my actual expectations for this team, what I want to see out of this team. And of course, let's discuss what we want to see. And it's pretty much very bottom line. Win the Premier League or win the Champions League. Or minimum win the Carabao Cup or FA Cup. And I still don't know if I'll be 100% pleased with that. And my reasons for this is there's really no other excuse at this point. Arteta's going on, I think, his 5th or 6th year with the club. I can't remember off the top of my head. He's definitely had a ton of backing from the board. I mean, this team is his vision, and I believed in the vision. I have. But for me, we do really have to start questioning, again, is he the right guy if things don't go well this year? Now, again, we have to see what the context is, but you finished second 3 straight years. Man City were on demon time the first 2, but then City take a step back. Slot comes in with his first year with Liverpool, and they win the damn league. And it wasn't close. It wasn't even close. So for me, he's got to get it done. You get your striker. You get your prolific number 9. There's really nothing else that this team needs, in my opinion. Yes, you could get a little greedy and get a better left wing, which I don't even think that's really being greedy because this team does need to get better at that position. But still, this team is ready to go. Again, like I said, they get their striker. They have depth. They have a minimum of top 3 defense in all of the sport, all of the world. And I just think that this team is ready to go. And the logical side of my brain is like, okay, if Liverpool get Isak and they're already coming off this insane transfer window, it's going to be really hard to win the league. But sometimes you just have to overcome those things. And I think, I'll say this. I want Arsenal to win the league, and they should win the league this year. My logical brain is telling me Liverpool. So that's where I start to get conflicted because it's like, oh, so you expect them to be second? No, I expect them to win the league. But realistically, there's also so much talent in this league that, we have to see how things go. But on paper, Arsenal should have won a ton more games last year if they just had a damn striker. So I'm going to hold out hopes. I think this team should be able to win the damn Prem. I don't know if they will, but I really hope they do. And if they don't win the Prem, go win the damn Champions League. Go win the Champions League because you were so close to it last year. You've been tasting the success the last 2 years, but you got really close last year. And again, you just didn't have a scorer that really could have made a real factor and a real difference against PSG. And you didn't win because of that. I think if Arsenal have a better attack and they're mostly healthy, I think they at least give PSG a run for their money. So again, it's either win the Prem or win the Champions League. Either one, I would really like to see them do it this year because there's just no more excuses. There's no more excuses for this team. They got to get it done. So that's what I'm expecting out of them. Now, do they get it done? I don't know, but that's what I'm expecting. Either you make a deep run in the Champions League or you win that damn Premier League. So we will see. Let me know what your guys' expectations are. I think everyone has the same expectations for this team, but for whatever reason, if you don't think that they're going to achieve them this year, let me know down in the comments. Now, on a more positive side, even though I tried to be positive last segment, but it really wasn't as positive as I would have liked, is just kind of focusing on a couple things that I'm looking forward to. And first is, of course, them having a real striker. Again, I don't need to go in depth about this. It's pretty basic at this point, but I just think Arsenal. I just think Saka, his link-up play and his ability to pass the ball and assist. I mean, he was on pace to break the assist record in the Premier League last year. His ability to get balls and cross balls into the box to Gyokeres, I just can't wait. I mean, again, we've just needed a finisher there, a clinical finisher, and I think they finally have that. I'm so excited to see that link up. I think it's going to be fantastic. And just, again, very, very excited to see how this all goes. But I really do think that Arsenal have a decent chance to at least have a way better attack. And I think those two are really going to have a great chemistry once they really get their things settled out. So I'm very excited for that. Next is the development of MLS and Nwaneri. Both these guys stepped up big last year, especially MLS, and they proved that they both have the mentality. I mean, I don't even know if Nwaneri's 18 yet. He might be. MLS, I think, is just 18 or 19. These guys, they have that dog in them, and they're young. They're from the academy. They want to see the club win, and they both just signed 5-year deals with the team. So they're not going anywhere, and I think they know that they're going to be continuing to get more playing time. MLS, I still think will get more playing time, at least at the beginning of this year. We have to see how Nwaneri does, whether it is, playing him at backup cam, or do they want to, put him at wing, even though it's not his natural position. I still thought he looked all right there, but I still really would like to see him at backup, to be honest, just because, again, I thought Odegaard had a little bit of a disappointing season last year. Not that it was the worst season ever, but his finishing dropped off, and his ability to create even at times was not on point. And again, if things are getting stale, okay, let's go to Nwaneri. It's not a slight against Odegaard. It's just, hey, look, we got to change it up, and we got a guy that can produce, so let's do it. So I'm just excited to see how, again, these two form. How are they going to do? How will they look? We'll see. But I think these guys have shown that they are ready for the moment, and I think they 100% need more minutes. Even Max Dowman as well, 15-year-old as well. Again, we'll see how much playing time he gets. I don't know, but he's looked fantastic in preseason. And again, his ability to create and really just I'm trying to think of how to say this. His touch on the ball is fantastic. His touch on the ball is fantastic from what I've seen in the preseason. Getting by grown men at the age of 15 is just ridiculous. So he's another guy as well. I don't know how much time he's really going to get, but 100% I want to at least see him with the first team squad because I really do think the kid could warrant some real minutes, or at least cup competition minutes, something, because the kid he's got talent. So I'm excited to see that for sure. But yeah, these young guys, I just think that they are going to be able to produce, specifically MLS and Nwaneri, if they're given the proper minutes and moments as well to prove themselves to Arteta. Similar to what I was just discussing, but overall, just more from a broad standpoint, it's just the depth with this team. Again, Madueke now, you got him. He's more depth for attacking. I think Kai Havertz is going to potentially thrive in now a backup 9 role. You also have Jesus. That's 2 backup strikers that I feel good about, because now they don't have to be the clinical striker. They can be a backup striker, and I just think that those 2, specifically Kai, are going to thrive in that role. It's just less pressure, but hey, you can still come on, create a spark. You still have a connection with these players, so I'm excited for that. Again, the midfield as well. Norgard, he's going to be a depth piece for this team. Again, Masquera as well, behind the center backs. There's just a lot of depth. I think they've addressed the depth, even Kepa. So I think they've really addressed the depth. And again, the depth was a key player last year, again, specifically for the attack. When this team was getting so damn banged up, you didn't have a lot of depth. That's why you had to go get Sterling. That's why you had to play Marino at striker. And they still made things work. So for me personally, I'm excited to see how all of this works. But I just am really proud that they got some depth. And it's a lot of young depth as well. So I feel really good about that heading into the season. Now, last is Arteta. We have a lot to discuss with this man right here. And I love this guy. I love him. He's the boss for a reason. I love his attitude. I love his hunger to win. But I have to keep it real. As much as I love him, I love the club more. And he's got to get results. Like I said, he's got to win the Prem, or he's got to win the Champions League, minimum FA Cup or Carabao Cup as well. For me personally, he's just got to get at least a decently major trophy. And like I said, there's no more excuses anymore. There's no more excuses. You have your striker. You have your striker. You have depth. Like, there's not much else for me to really say. He has the pieces. He just has to get it done. And I think he can. But I would also say, this is more from a tactical standpoint, I'd like to see him maybe change up the pace of the offense a little bit more. I don't think you constantly need to go down the right side to Saka. I just think it limited the attack at times. I think, again, with Gyokeres being there now, it's really going to open things up. But I just think if he can maybe change the style of play a little bit with the attack, and just kind of, again, win one of these major trophies, I'm 100% still backing him. But again, if he doesn't get it done this year, this team takes a step back, we have to have real discussions about Arteta, because, again, I love the guy. I love him. But at the same time, this is a results-driven business, and if you're not producing, maybe we got to change it up. And again, I don't want to say it, but is Arteta a guy that can get you there? But is he the guy that gets the job done? He might help and really start the project, but can he finish the project? I think that this year is going to show us that, and that's really my main focus of watching him. Again, I know he's bringing fantastic defense. He's bringing, fantastic set piece football as well. But if he can just open up the attack a little bit now that he has a striker, I think things will be different. But again, I just had to be real. This is a results-driven business. He has to get this done. He's got to win a major piece of silverware minimum, and then I think we can go from there. But again, if that doesn't occur, I think we do need to have discussions on if he is the right guy to get this team over the hump. That's all I got for this one. Again, I believe in this team. This team is ready. They've been knocking on the door, and they just got to get open. They got to break it in this year, something. I mean, we got to change it up. I'm tired of being not necessarily the banter club of the Prem, but Spurs won a damn trophy, and a European one at that. They won a trophy. Chelsea won another trophy, or they won 2 trophies. Our rivals are winning trophies. I mean, freaking Crystal Palace just won the FA Cup. Like, that's another club in London that has won. And Arsenal, you haven't won. So I would just like to see them finally win something. Again, the team is there. I don't want them to waste this window that they have with all this talent. They have all the pieces. They just have to get it done. We got to hope that, again, they win more games than instead of getting all these draws. Let's hope they don't get killed by the injuries like they did last year. And just less dumb red cards. And I think this team is going to be in a way better position. So we will see how this goes. Let me know your predictions down below for Arsenal. What are you expecting out of them this season? If you like this video, feel free to give it a like. And if you like my type of content, feel free to subscribe. We're going to be continuing to break down Arsenal and the rest of the Prem for the rest of the year. So stick with me if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace, guys.